Hello, welcome to Chapter 4. Today we're going to be doing Lesson 4.1, Multiplication Patterns with Decimals. Here's the standard. Add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals to the hundredths. We already worked on adding and subtracting decimals, so now we're going to be multiplying decimals. Today's essential question is, how can patterns help you place the decimal point in a product? Activate your knowledge. Anything to the 0 power is just 1, because we're not multiplying 10 by itself any times. So 10 to the 0 power is just 1. 10 to the first power is 10 multiplied by itself just once, so that's just 10. 10 to the second power is 10 times 10, because it's 10 multiplied by itself 2 times, which would be 100. Be careful, 10 times 10 is not 20, it's 100. 10 to the third power would be 10 times 10 times 10, or 10 multiplied by itself 3 times, which would equal 1,000. Let's help Cindy out. Cindy is combining equal-sized rectangles from different fabric patterns to make a postage stamp quilt. Interesting. Each rectangle has an area of 75 hundredths of a square inch. If she uses 1,000 rectangles to make the quilt, what will be the area of the quilt? Use the pattern to find the product. All right. 1 times 75 hundredths is just 75 hundredths. 10 times 75 hundredths would be 7.5, because we are taking this number right here, 75 hundredths, and to multiply by 10, remember we just have to move our decimal place one place to the right. If we're not sure which way we should move our decimal place, we can always say it in our head and see if it makes sense. Is 7.5 bigger or smaller than 75 hundredths? Well, obviously it's bigger because we have a whole number here. So it could be 10 times 75 hundredths, so that makes sense. All right, 100 times 0.75, we'd have to move it 2 decimal places because there's 2 zeros in this number. It would be 10 to the second power. 1, 2, so that would be 75. 1,000 times 0.75, which is what our question is asking, we would have to move it 3 times because there's 3 zeros in that number, or 10 to the third. 1, 2, 3, so 750. The quilt will have an area of 750 square inches. As you multiply by increasing powers of 10, how does the position of the decimal point change in the product? Well, we just talked about that, so think about that. You should probably know the answer to that question. As we multiply by those powers of 10 over here, how does the decimal point move? Place value patterns can be used to find the product of a number and the decimals 0.1 and 0.01. Now if I'm going to go the other way, I'm going to multiply by a decimal. George is making a scale model of the Willis Tower in Chicago for a theater set. The height of the tower is 1,353 feet. If the model is 1/100th of the actual size of the building, how tall is the model? Okay, so first I need to find what the height of the building is, which is just 1 times 1,353. Okay, then I'm going to use my pattern. So first I'm going to do times 1/10. 1/10 of the actual size means I'm going to move my decimal place 1 place to the left to find 1/10 of that answer. 1/10 of 1,353 is 135 and 3/10. Now to find 1/100th of the actual size, I'm going to move my decimal place over 2 times. 1, 2. If I move my decimal place over 2 times, I'm going to get 13 and 53 hundredths feet tall. Think about this question right here. As you multiply by decreasing powers of 10, how does the position of the decimal point change in the product? When we multiplied by increasing powers of 10, as they got bigger, we moved the decimal place over to the right to make it a bigger number. To multiply by decreasing powers of 10, the position of the decimal point changes in the product by moving to the left to make it a smaller number. 3 friends are selling items at an arts and crafts fair. Josie makes $45.75 selling jewelry. Mark makes 100 times as much as Josie makes by selling his custom furniture. Chance makes a tenth of the money Mark makes by selling paintings. How much money does each friend make? All right. Well, we know Josie makes $45.75. Mark makes 100 times as much as that. So Mark makes 100 times $45.75. 1 times $45.75 is $45.75. 10 times $45.75 is going to be a bigger number. So I'm going to move my decimal place over one place to make it a bigger number to the right. Moving it to the right makes it a bigger number. All right. And 100 times that number, so 100 times as much as Josie's number, $45.75. I'm going to move my decimal place over 2 times. 4, 5, 7, 5. So he makes $4,575. Mark makes $4,575. Okay, now Chance. Chance makes a smaller amount than Mark does. She makes a tenth of the money that Mark does. So she makes 1/10 of $4,575. 1 times that number, $4,575, is just $4,575. So 1/10 of $4,575. I'm going to move my decimal place over 1 time to make it a smaller number. I'm going to have 457.5. Okay? And if I'm thinking about that in money, I can't just say Chase makes $457.5. It would be $457.50. Now try this. A, 10 to the 0 power, well, we know that's 1, times 4.78 is just 4.78. And 10 to the 1st power, or just 10, times 4.78 means I'm going to move my decimal place over 1 time to get 47.8. That's 1 place value bigger, so it's 10 times bigger than 4 and 7800. 10 to the 2nd power means 10 times 10, which is 100. 100 times 4 and 7800 means I'll move my decimal place over 2 times. I'll get 478. 10 to the 3rd power means I'll move my decimal place over 3 times, and I will get 478, and I'll have to add a 0 on there because I have no other numbers. So I'm going to get 4,780 because I had 4.78, and I moved my decimal place over 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and I have to add a 0 here. Okay, and to make it a smaller number, 38 times 1 is just going to be 38. 38 times 1/10 means I'm going to make it 10 times smaller. To get 38 times 1/10, I'll have to move my decimal place over. So 1/10 of 38 is going to be 3 8/10. And last but not least, 38 times 1/100th. So 1/100th of 38 is going to be 2 decimal places smaller. I'm going to move my decimal place over 1, 2, and the whole thing is going to be a decimal now, so I'll get 38 hundredths. All right, this bottom part is for you to try. So go ahead and fill out this bottom part and submit this with the rest of your lesson. See you tomorrow.